everybody. I'm Amber Sand. I'm on the board of the NDHSA, and I'm here today with my friend Carrie Woodruff and Delilah, her dog. She's a pretty dog, so we thought you'd enjoy her. So I'm going to go ahead and let Carrie introduce herself and then talk a little bit about why she started homeschooling, and we'll go from there.
Well, I'm Carrie Woodruff, and I've been married to my husband for 28 years now. He's a pastor here in North Dakota at 2 small rural congregations. We have 4 daughters. They've all been homeschooled from the very beginning. My oldest, Alora, is 23, and then we have Michaela, who's just turned 21, Emily's 19, and Hannah is 14. The oldest 3 have all graduated, and Alora has even graduated college now, and she's running a Bible camp up in the northern part of the state. Michaela and Emily are both in college right now and doing very well there. Hannah's still at home. She just started her first year of high school, and so I'm navigating life with just one teenager at home, which is a whole different ballgame for me. Life has changed a lot just having one. I think thinking back on how I got started or interested in homeschooling, it's interesting to look back and see how God was working in my life at that time. My husband and I had just been married, maybe just 2 years or so, and I was in a PhD program for clinical psychology, and he was in seminary to become a pastor. And there was one day, I remember it so clearly now still, where we were talking about children and how the greatest determining factor of how a child will turn out as an adult is whether they have a stable relationship with an adult. And I thought, okay, so I'm planning on working full-time, at least, having like a full private practice, and just letting my kids be raised by someone else.
Right.
And so that was really what got me thinking, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And at the same time, I was in the public school counseling some kids.
Sure.
And then God was also bringing homeschool families into my life.
No?
It was all interesting how this all came together at the same time. And so in the public school, I was working with these kids from pretty dysfunctional homes, and the school system couldn't support them. I mean, there were these teachers with 20-some kids, and they all had so many different needs and problems, and they were all at different levels, and one teacher really couldn't accommodate all those needs. And so I was picturing my own kids in this kind of a setting, and realizing that's not really what I wanted, but at the same time, I was meeting these homeschool families. I was like, oh, that's really different.
Right, I was going to say, what did you think?
Look at how those kids are. I think I was in a community band at the time, and the director homeschooled.
Oh.
And she just had one child, but she was really open to talking about her experiences, and because of her, I was invited to help judge like a music contest. Like the homeschoolers had this big contest. Like I did music, which was one part of it, but they also did like speech and different things where they could go and perform whatever it was that they were good at. And it was this big family event. They all packed lunches. And I got there and I was like, oh my goodness. Like, this is really peaceful and pleasant, and everyone loves everyone. And the kids were so respectful, and the parents were so gracious, and everyone just wanted what was best for the kids. And I was like, this is what I want.
Right.
And so I started researching homeschool, and we didn't even have any kids at this time.
Okay.
But I was planning, at that time I decided I was going to stop with my master's degree.
Okay.
And it just kind of went from there. I had this plan. I would get my master's, we'd stop, there, my husband went on his internship year, and I really started like researching how I wanted to homeschool and what we were going to do. And it just kind of went from there, and we had our first baby, and I got more and more into it, and that's just how it's been.
So did you start going to homeschool events when Laura was a baby, or did you wait until she got a little older?
Where we lived, there were no homeschoolers at
really?
first.
Oh, okay. And
like I'd ask around, and someone would say, "Oh, I think there's someone outside of town," but it was always just like this one vague person that they couldn't tell me the name of.
Okay.
And so I didn't know any other homeschoolers in North Dakota until, goodness, she was probably 6. I bet.
Really? Okay.
I think so. I think Laura was 6. And that was when I went to my first convention.
Okay.
And like this whole new world opened
Right. Everybody should go to your convention.
Right.
Where was it at, Carrie? Where did you go? Do you remember?
Jamestown. Yeah, and it was Michael Ferris I was speaking.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Gosh.
And so that was my first introduction. I was like, oh my goodness.
That'd be great. Yeah, it's been a long time since we've had him as a keynote.
Yeah.
But I don't know what year that was, but...
Oh, well, if Laura was 6 and she's 23 now, I mean, this was like 17 years ago.
Okay.
So, yeah,
wow.
that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I haven't missed a convention since.
Awesome. That's great.
And this year, because I was sick, I only made it for a little bit, but I was still there.
Right. Yes. So that's a good lead into what we're going to talk about today. So today we're actually talking about homeschooling in a chronic illness situation or even acute illness situation, just homeschooling through when you have health issues. So I'll let you talk a little bit about, what you went through as far as that and how that was for homeschooling. So
yeah, I've listened to lots of homeschooling podcasts and I've read the books, and I knew that we would have difficult times.
Right.
And I knew all the right things to think and do. But when you're in the middle of it, it's really hard.
Yeah.
It's very discouraging. I guess my issues started back in December, almost a year ago now. And it started one day. Like something on my chest felt kind of funny, and I thought it was anxiety, but I didn't really have like a specific reason to be anxious. And after 2 days I was like, maybe it's my heart.
Sure. And
so I started checking it. My blood pressure was high, and it's never been high before, and I was like, this is weird. Sure. And I kept monitoring it, and blood pressure was just consistently high. And then like this huge wall of anxiety did hit, and it wouldn't go away. And the first time I ended up in the ER, my blood pressure had gone quite high. And the doctor was concerned, but not emergency room concerned. And so he kind of sent me home, and I was seeing my local doctor. But at the same time, I started having these neurological problems. Like I had like electrical impulses shooting across the left side of my face pretty frequently, especially if I got stressed. And the blood pressure and the anxiety was making me stress. It was starting to happen more and more frequently, and I had just never felt right. And so this went on for a couple weeks, and I wasn't feeling great. The doctor was considering a brain aneurysm because my mom had one. Oh. And there were some symptoms pointing towards possible aneurysm in all of this. So she was wanting like a consult with a neurologist and an MRI done, but these things all take time. Right. So in the process of waiting for that, I went up to visit my oldest daughter up at camp, and I was helping her hang plastic sheeting over her window. And all of a sudden, I got all these horrible neurological symptoms, and they were very much like a brain aneurysm. Oh. And we were scared, and we're like 2 hours from an emergency room. Right. And so she was like, is this really happening? Like, am I just imagining it? Do we need to go to the ER? Do I just need to lie down? And it really it got so bad. I was deciding, okay, we're 2 hours away. We have to go now because we didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
And it was winter. The roads were not great, and we had to leave my youngest and a dog in the middle of nowhere at this camp.
Right.
And it was all really scary.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to drive into one of the larger towns, Minot, and
Oh, you guys drove all the way to Minot?
we did.
Okay.
It was a 2-hour drive.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to live not far from Minot.
Right.
And we knew where the emergency room was,
Mm-hmm.
but we got there and it had moved.
Oh.
Like,
Okay.
where is it? There's a sign saying emergency room now at this address. I'm like, where is that?
Oh my goodness. Okay.
But I'm like super stressed and like,
Mhm.
and we didn't know if I was dying. And like this whole 2 hours, I'm like, if I died, this is what, you know,
Oh my gosh.
it was so,
Okay.
it was so scary.
Mhm.
And the ear doctor, I mean, they ran all the tests and there was no sign of aneurysm, but he didn't know what it was either.
Okay.
There were theories of like silent migraine or something, but he really didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back, my doctor here, she's like, I don't know, that doesn't match.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, we need more tests. So we're still waiting for all these major tests, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're at home now, and this time I'm looking down and all these full body tremors hit and I can't move. And so we're back in the ER and
Mhm.
the doctor's like, I don't know, probably silent migraine or something like that. Or maybe it's just you're 50 years old.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm
Okay.
like, and my regular doctor, she's not buying any of this.
Mm-hmm.
But no one knows what's really wrong. Well,
Right.
meantime, at this point, like I was pretty much, I had to be in bed.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I was up, all these really terrifying symptoms would happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent the next week in bed.
Right.
Because I was scared if I get up, I'm going to be back in the emergency room.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, just like moving my head, like something in the back of my neck was always hurting,
Mm-hmm.
and my head never felt right.
So like fuzzy or foggy or just
Yeah,
okay.
it hurt. There was something going around, like the nerve. There's a trigeminal facial nerve that
Mhm.
was bothering me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my head was fuzzy, and then there was the constant anxiety and the blood pressure, and like all these
Right.
things were going on. So I was bedridden for a week fully, and we started looking at alternative medicine ideas. And I met with a homeopath over Zoom in England, and she said, you need to get to a chiropractor.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the chiropractor the next day, and he knew right away what it was.
Really?
So I had a bulging disc in one of my cervical vertebrae, and it was pressing into my spine at the exact point where your fight or flight response is. So I'd been in constant fight or flight. That's why my blood pressure is
Right.
up. That's why I had all this anxiety. And whenever I tilted my head back or pushed it forward, it would send off all these neurological symptoms.
Right.
And so now we knew what it was. And the first time he saw me, he was actually a little nervous to do too much of an adjustment because he thought I was too fragile for it.
Oh.
So
What did he recommend then?
we did some acupuncture,
Okay.
and then he just did a light adjustment to just get things opened up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually, I knew right away something had changed.
Okay.
The really scary neurological symptoms had stopped.
Mm-hmm.
So I could move my head
Mm-hmm.
better, but I was still pretty bedridden because my head just didn't feel right, and like anything would set off this strange feeling at the back of my neck, and I could feel it come all the way back around into my face on the left side, and I just couldn't even hold my head up.
Mm-hmm.
And that continued for weeks, like probably a month, even after
Wow.
that first chiropractor adjustment, and I saw him weekly.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just bedridden still for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So homeschooling became really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I had 2 daughters at home then. Emily was her senior year.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically said, Emily, you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Here are your books.
Right.
Just finish them and you're done.
Mm-hmm.
And she did.
Right.
She did a great job. Hannah, she kind of knew what she was supposed to do, you know, the next lesson in your math book. If you have trouble, Emily helped.
Right.
Michaela came home on weekends and she helped.
Mm-hmm.
And Hannah, she did her reading. We just didn't discuss the books like we had been. I couldn't be around computers.
Right.
I could feel the EMF waves really strong. Like they burned me. I could be sitting in the living room, and if someone came in and turned on the TV, I could feel them bouncing off me, and they burned. It really hurt.
Yeah.
I couldn't listen to music or anything. I just had to lie in a room very quietly. Sure. And at the same time, we also discovered mold in our bedroom.
Oh.
And we didn't know. It was still this uncertain time of not knowing what was causing everything.
Right.
And so I had to move out of my bedroom. I went to a bedroom in the basement.
Okay.
And so
I didn't know that part.
Yeah. I laid in Alora and Michaela's bedroom every day, all day, for weeks. And it just had to be quiet, and I had a lot of time to think. And as I kept seeing the chiropractor, and my homeopath had prescribed some things, like gradually things were getting a little bit better. And there was a point where I could start to read an actual book.
Sure.
I was so thankful that I could read a book, because then, you know, you're not just stuck with your own thoughts.
Right.
So we just kind of continued on. Like I would be alone in this room, and my girls were so sweet. They'd come in, you know, periodically to visit me. Sometimes they'd come in together and they'd interact and make me laugh because they're funny. And sometimes they'd just come in and tell me what was going on upstairs. But homeschooling, and for my part of it, was almost non-existent. They were doing what they could,
right?
But we had to let go of a lot of things. And I couldn't grade papers. I couldn't think well enough to read through these papers. Like an answer key with a math book, I could handle that.
Sure.
But Emily was writing papers for composition. I could not comprehend what she was reading at that time. And Hannah's writing, I couldn't even her writing. I had to put it aside, and honestly, I still haven't read most of those papers. I picked a few that were the most important for them, that they wanted to hear about. Like when this was done, I did read a few at the end, but I really just had to let go of a lot of it. And we just did what we could.
Right.
And I remember I texted you one day because I felt so guilty. I felt like I was harming my kids. Like there was nothing I could do about it, but I felt like these kids are going to be harmed. Like we are not doing everything that we should be doing. And I felt guilty. It was only senior year, and I felt like I was missing so much of it. And I just texted you because I knew if it was someone else, I knew what I would say to them. But when it's you, it doesn't matter what you know. And I was like, I need someone else to tell me. So I think I texted you, and I was like, Amber, please tell me that I'm not harming my kids. And you texted back right away. And you're like, you're not harming them. It's okay to let academics go. There are other life lessons to be learned here. And there were a lot of life lessons. So when I started reading these books, one of the books was pointing out that in our suffering, there is always a lesson and a gift. And so I started looking for those lessons and gifts. And I think for me, I learned that my kids were not harmed. They were actually strengthened. So I looked at what they learned. They learned to take care of their mother. They had to take over all of the cooking. And I had a special diet at that time. There were like 5 foods I could eat. So they made their own meals, but they also had to help with mine and bring it to me sometimes. They learned how to run the house without me. And they learned to care for each other. Emily helped Hannah with math. Emily helped Hannah do chores. I mean, Emily was kind of the one in charge. She was the oldest at home at that time, and she knew what needed to be done, so Hannah would help her get it done. And so we went on that way for a while, but I think they also learned to be grateful for life, because that night when I thought I was having a brain aneurysm, like we really thought that I may not come home from the hospital. And I think we all had to think about what that would mean for the family. And so everyone got perspective on that. And I also think one of the lessons, especially Alora, that night when she had to take me to the ER, she had to do some really hard things that maybe she didn't realize that she could do at that time. But now she knows she can do them. She totally took charge. She totally took care of me. Got me to the ER, got me checked in. She called various people to make sure that my husband could go up to the camp and get Hannah. He had never been up there from this direction, so she's giving him instructions. She totally laid it out where he needed to go, how he needed to get up there, what he needed to do once he was there. She made sure Hannah was okay, because we left Hannah alone without a phone. And so she set up communication with the rest of the family and Hannah. Like, she did it all. And now she knows she can do it. And I've seen like just so much growth in all of my girls from this. Michaela came home on the weekends and helped. She did some of the cooking too. And
she came and taught a co-op class.
That's true. I couldn't make it to one of the co-op classes, at least one, maybe
I think
two.
it was one or two, I don't remember.
And Michaela and Emily did music. That's true. They
did a great job.
They filled in, and so they learned to pick up where I just couldn't at that time. And I think that's really important for homeschooling moms, because we think we have to do it all. We think it all rests on us. Like, we are responsible for how these kids are going to turn out.
It's a heavy burden.
It is. And I mean, it's not just the academics, it's the socialization, it's the, they have to have skills besides academics, and they have to know how to make their own food and have it be healthy food. and good health, and all of these relationships and everything. And I think it was good for them to learn that even if I'm not able to, they know what to do. They can still step up and do it. And we did. For 2, almost 3 months. I mean, I was gradually getting better. But I think it was a full 3 months before I was back to doing everything. And so it was a long journey. It was a hard journey, but it was so good for everyone. And for me to know that it's okay to need help. And I have this friend who, she's always told me, because I don't like to ask for help.
I don't either.
And she's like, but you're depriving other people of the opportunity to serve.
That's a good way to look at it. I've had somebody say that to me before too.
You're keeping them from doing what they should as a Christian. You're not letting them serve you. You're doing all the serving. I was like, oh.
It feels so odd to ask, though. I don't know what. There's some kind of block there that.
I think I should be able to do it all by myself. And when you like really, really can't, it's really, really hard. So I learned that, and then I also had someone point out to me, there were lessons. The kids did their school on their own. They could manage the house. But one of the most important lessons they learned from me was it's okay to take care of yourself. And I was thinking about that. I mean, as moms, we always put ourselves last. But is that what we want for our daughters? No. So it was good that they could see that I did take a step back. I mean, in some ways, I really didn't have a choice. But even when I could do a little bit more, I still for a long time made the conscious choice to rest every day and to just sit and read. so that my body could heal. I mean, because the disc, really, it's a matter of resting and healing.
Okay.
And that's a choice, too.
Right.
So I can rest now, or I can push my body until it completely falls apart again and do this all over. Right?
Yeah. That doesn't sound pleasant.
No. So I learned to rest, and they learned that it's good to take care of yourself too, that's important too.
Yeah, but I mean, like when I'm listening to you talk about this, I'm thinking to myself, like, these are the moments that we're preparing them for, or that we're working towards. You know, we spent all this time on family discipleship and trying to teach them to serve others, but we're used to being the ones who are doing the serving, like you're talking about. So when you're being served, it's almost like there's just this guilt that you feel bad about it. But it is an opportunity for them to shine, really, and show what you've taught them and how they should react in these situations and how you would hope they would react. And your girls did a great job. I mean, at co-op, when I saw them, they did a great job. And when I would ask them, you know, how's your mom doing? Genuine concern would come out of their mouths, you know?
And they still are. I mean, the worst is past, but I've had a few relapses yet this fall, and they're always just wanting to help. They make a lot of meals when they're around, which I greatly appreciate. Alora was home last week and she did a lot of dishes for me. But also I think what you're just saying, the family discipleship, we let go of some academics, but the priority, we still read the Bible and prayed together as a family every single day. They came down to the room where I was and they gathered around my bed. But we were still all there as a family, reading the Bible and praying together every single day. So we did have that priority, and they weren't harmed. I didn't see any deficit academically. I mean, I'm sure that we did not do everything. I know for a fact we did not do everything, but it's okay. I couldn't even tell you what it was we didn't do right now.
Sure. Right. Well, and Emily's doing very well at college.
Yes, she is.
So I think that something that I think about a lot with homeschool moms is that we don't want to share things that we have going on, or places where we think that we might be falling down. And because everybody has those places, or things that go on, whether it's chronic illness, or whether your father's really sick and you're helping take care of your father, or your business is failing and you're having financial issues. There's all kinds of different things that go on in just life, and then academics does sometimes take a back seat while you're dealing with those issues. But that doesn't mean, like you said, that they're not learning things while you're walking through those times and you're making those decisions and you're prioritizing things that are important. I'm not saying that academics isn't important. Right. It is important. We devote most of our days to it.
Yes.
But I'm just saying that sometimes there are other lessons to be learned, which is what I texted you when you texted me. But, I think that's hard to remember when you're going through it.
It really is. And kids are amazing, resilient, and this actually isn't my first bad time being down in bed. I had a really bad miscarriage between Emily and Hannah. And so at that time, the girls would have been 6, 4, and 2. This is before Hannah. And I was in bed recovering a lot. I had severe hemorrhage. I was hospitalized for a couple days. And it was probably a 2-month recovery then, too. And when I finally came out, I was like, oh, my 2-year-old, maybe we should teach her a couple letters. But the whole time I had been in bed, the girls had been playing school. Oh. And Emily knew all of her letters and her numbers. Like, she's with me in the kitchen, and we were making a smoothie or something in the blender. And so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I thought I'd teach her a number. She knew them already. Sure. So Michaela and Alora had already taught her letters and her numbers. I was like, okay. Well, moving on. Right. So they are resilient. And I think the other thing about this is homeschooling. I think especially in North Dakota, we're blessed with a great homeschooling community. And went to the homeschool convention during this time because we wouldn't miss it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was in our hotel room most of the time. I tried to go the first night of the book sale,
Mm-hmm.
but the lights and the noise was just
Right.
too much for me. And so I spent most of the time in bed. And I made it for maybe like the last 4 hours on that last day. And just to see everyone there, some people knew that I had been sick, and I got a lot of hugs.
Yeah.
And other people just, we hadn't seen each other in a year. So it was so good. I felt amazing just in that 4 hours of seeing all of the homeschooling community. And those few months, I think like most of North Dakota was praying for me because my husband being a pastor, there was also like this big church convention at the same time, and he couldn't go because it was right after the third ER trip. And everyone there knew, and they were praying for me. I was getting cards from women's groups from all over the state, and just the body of believers and the body of the homeschooling community. It was such a blessing the whole time. Just to know that there were people out there who cared, and there were people that did offer various means of help. And there wasn't much that anyone could do. I just needed to lie there.
Right.
And my girls were old enough where they could make their own meals. But,
Right.
but just knowing that people cared, that mattered a lot.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. And I know, I remember when I had babies, that was probably the hardest times homeschooling. But I also have a thyroid condition that makes me really tired.
Yeah.
And so I do have to prioritize rest as well. During the day, if I get tired in the afternoon, I have to sit down, or I have to take a nap, or if I'm able.
Yeah.
But, if you have little kids and you're going through a chronic illness, reading to them a lot whenever you can is a really good way to kind of keep up on learning when you just feel like you can't do anything. I don't, maybe you have some more to add to that too, but I know a good friend of mine who told me once, she said, like, Amber, when you get home after you've had a baby and stuff, just have your kids sit on your lap and read.
Yeah.
And read good stories, read fun stories and interesting stories that they're, do play acting, let them do a play, do all these different things. And it wasn't like a heavy burden type of thing. It was like, have them do these fun things that are learning, but they maybe don't know they're learning. So.
Yeah, and I think audiobooks, because maybe you can't even read. Maybe reading is too much even. So, we did a lot of audiobooks when the girls were little.
We did too.
And that made it doable when there was a new baby. or maybe I had the flu or something.
Right.
But I think that's another time when other homeschooling families can step in and help. Maybe they take your kids for a couple days, or they bring in a meal or something.
Right, or they might do your laundry, or they might clean up for you. And I've had people do that for me, and it's beautiful.
It is, yeah. We had that a few times. We had a bad bout of pneumonia go through the household, and I was hit the hardest. And I had a friend come, and she took Hannah, because Hannah was probably 7 at the time, and I think the older girls were sick too. Alora never got sick. Alora took care of the rest of us. And then Michaela, Emily, and I were all sick. Hannah was the last one to get it. So when she was still well, I had a friend come, and she just took Hannah for the day. Did fun things with her, and just that made such a huge difference for both of us. I didn't have to worry or feel guilty.
Right.
And Hannah got out of a household of sick people.
Right. Yeah, it makes a huge difference. And I think going back to what you said before, don't be afraid to ask for help, because sometimes you really need it. And you do have to reach out and ask. People can't read your mind.
Right.
And they don't live in your house.
Right.
So, I had a lot of family that would help me too, which was a blessing, and that was lovely. But if you don't live around family, you know.
And, it's hard. It's really hard to ask for help. Like, I don't want to call up and say, could you make me a meal, or could you come get my kids?
Right.
But if I think about it on the other side, if someone asked me, I'd be there in a
I
heartbeat.
know. Right, right.
So we have to remember those
Mhm.
things and give them an opportunity to love their neighbor
Right.
too. We don't
Mhm.
want to deprive them of
We
loving
don't.
their neighbor.
No.
That would be bad.
Right.
It's just hard to be that neighbor that
It
needs
is.
the love.
It is hard to, because you just feel like you shouldn't be asking for some reason.
Right.
You know?
I don't
But-
want to be a burden. And
Right.
I think that's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
what it is.
Right. Do you think you'd have anything else you'd want to tell people? I mean, about homeschooling through hard times, basically.
I think that one of the greatest things I learned was that it doesn't all fall on me. It's really God.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that I'm the one responsible for how my kids are going to turn out. And yes, they do need me. God gave me to them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really not about me.
Right.
It's really about God and what He's doing
Mm-hmm.
in the situation. He knows what everyone in your family needs. And if I need to be sick for a while,
Mm-hmm.
it's for my good and my family's good too.
Right.
We just don't always know what that is in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Right. And when God does call on us to suffer, we want to do it well. We want to have our kids see us do it well, which
Yeah.
it is hard when you're sick and tired and you know,
Mhm.
whatever, to represent Christ well, and we don't always do it right, but thank goodness there's forgiveness.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So, well, I don't think I would have anything else to share, so I just want to
Okay.
thank you for
You're welcome. Thank
taking
you for
time to
asking
talk
me.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, thanks for listening, everybody.